So I would really like to introduce you to Benjah Martchek. And Benjah's been with us over a year now. And as every herbalist in our community, our HAALo community, he really brings an amazing dimension to his work behind the counter. So Benjah, I really want everybody to kind of get to know you. So can you tell us a little bit about you, your history?
Yeah. I started out just like a lot of people, looking at a future when I graduated from high school and decided to go to college. I went up to Evergreen State College in Washington, and I started out actually studying biology because I thought life was interesting. I just wanted to know more about it. And then, as currently the study of biology, most of it goes towards how chemicals move around in ecosystems and in the body, and so I kind of started to shift towards that, and kind of finished in organic chemistry, where we were, again, looking at even doing plants, but isolating single molecules out of plants and extracting them, and then using those as medicine. And then, at some point I just realized that, there's about 1,000 or more chemicals in every plant you find. So if we were to isolate 1,000 chemicals and then try to put them together in the right combination to put in someone's body, it seems like nature has already done that by providing them in the plants. So I kind of felt a little bit like I was wasting my own time, as like trying to reinvent the wheel. I was
Right.
like, they've already been put together in the right combinations to, curb some of the side effects of the more bioactive compounds. So I was like, really, I just need to learn more about the plants themselves, as opposed to trying to find just one particular aspect of the plants and taking that out without acknowledging the rest of it. And so, at a certain point, I just started to shift gears. Instead of learning more about chemistry and that, I just wanted to learn more about plants and how they interacted with humans, and not necessarily know every constituent in every plant, or the strength of the molecules itself, but more about the plants and how they, sometimes they'll engage people in different ways because they have a whole diverse array of chemicals in them. So sometimes when a person takes a plant, certain chemicals will actually be more active than in
Right.
another person.
And that's what we find with the herbs, that why they're so much more effective than the synthetic pharmaceuticals. I mean, because it's the entire plant rather than just the compounds.
Yeah, I agree. And so since then, I've been kind of just pursuing folk knowledge and local knowledge. It seemed to me when I was looking at the time for like a really good school about plants and Western approach to healing with plants, there wasn't really that much out there. There's Chinese medicine schools and naturopathic schools, but I was more interested in learning about like how traditional uses of the plants work, because some are taken internally, some are used in baths, some are taken. There's different therapeutic ways that people have been working with the plants for thousands of years, and they were effective, and they still are effective. And so, I kind of started searching around North America and moved into Central America, where there's still a lot of the wisdom keepers and a lot of people who don't have access to pharmaceuticals, so they just continue to use plants
And
because
you
that's
spent
what they've
a lot
always
of time
done.
down there, didn't you?
Oh yeah. And there's actually a great place I was just talking about in Guatemala that's an herbal clinic, and they treat the entire village, and it's a beautiful little spot, and they grow a lot of their own herbs, and they keep educating the local people, and the local people keep educating the clinicians there, and they work pretty much solely with herbs to be able to treat everybody in their village and the surrounding areas.
And I want to just really, really recognize that Benjah brings this knowledge back to our community, and he works a lot with the indigenous and the Native American peoples as well, and really bringing back the ceremonial uses of plant medicine as well.
Yeah, one thing I encountered in my travels is that there's an acknowledgement along a lot of indigenous and native peoples that the plants themselves have a spirit, and it's not just a thing or an inanimate object. And so they often have songs that go along with the plants, or ways of harvesting them that kind of respect the plant as a living organism. As just like you wouldn't want, if your fingernail was a good medicine, someone would just come and rip it off you and walk away with it. But if someone really asked and said, hey, if I had a piece of your fingernail and it'd be really helpful for me, I'm kind of sick, then maybe somebody would willingly give it. The same way that plants are, they have an energy about them, and if you ask them really politely and you make an offering to them before you take from them, then maybe they're a little bit more potent when you gather them. And so just trying to learn some of those things as well. And then some of their therapies too, they go along with the plants, and also prayer. They pray with different plants and acknowledge the use of the plants, and that way too is something that I had never experienced before, and I really like to incorporate more in my life now and
Well,
share
you do.
what I know. So.
And he brings this behind the counter on working with our customers as well. I've often seen you when you're formulating, as you're talking to our members before formulating their tea, you really also go into their spiritual psychology as part of your formulating of the tea, and you get such great feedback on that from the customers coming back from using your teas. Do you want to go a little bit into that?
Yeah, I guess just more in the last decade or so of exploring healing through some different systems and different traditional teachers, seeing how much of our sickness or dis-ease is tied into our thoughts and our spiritual thoughts as well. And even myself, when you start to get, most all diseases caused from stress of one type or another, whether it's physical stress or mental stress or environmental pollution or stress like that. So really trying to source that out in somebody, and that'll help, determine which plants will be better to not only treat the symptom, but alleviate the condition from the root, where it might be the source of the stress in their life, and to try and make somebody feel better about themselves or the condition that they're in. May not be able to change everything, but we can at least look at it in a way that makes it easier,
And I really am able to observe, watching all this, how people, they come in thinking that they have symptoms, specific symptoms, but as he delves deeper with them and more comes to the surface, you can really see where a lot of the root of the illness is coming from as well.
Yeah.
And I love that you bring that into the shop. And Benjah's always here on Thursdays, so just to let everybody know. Benjah, another thing that's one of the reasons we're introducing Benjah this month in particular is we are really honoring the male at HAALo, because the male brings a really beautiful energy to our shop. And one of the big changes in your life is you just had your first child this year.
Yeah.
So what's that like?
It's, for me it's been great, pure joy all the way. It's hard to leave my little son, but he came into the store the other day and got to watch me with intent, put all the herbs together and to, interact with people, and he just, loved to share with him too, this way that when he grows up that he can find what he needs around him in nature, find the plants that he needs to keep himself healthy.
I mean, you already are bringing him to the prayer lodges and all sorts of ceremony. And one of the things that we really encourage our herbalists here, earlier in the year, we had 5 herbalists that all had babies within weeks and months of each other. So we've made it part of our culture here at HAALo that the mamas and the papas can bring their babies to work and really just bring in that beautiful energy of their babies, but expose their babies to all this plant medicine right from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really good, and just to continue, because I feel it's we're seeding a culture when we're teaching our children something, and we don't know how far it's going to go, and hopefully it'll stretch out to touch the whole world. So.
You probably don't know this watching the video, but we have a cleared out space here right on the other side of the counter, and it's our baby space, and the babies can take naps here. They have a space for them. It's quiet. The mamas and papas can keep an eye on their babies. So, oftentimes when customers are in the shop, they're not even aware that we have our babies right here in our little counter space. Benjah, is there anything else you would like to add, or just to tell people about you?
Just that I put my faith and my health in the herbs, and this shop here has been really great for me in my life, just expanding my practice and my understanding of plants, and it's a learning community that we have here, so we love it when people come in with herbs. This other day somebody came in, they're like, what plant is this? And I didn't know, it wasn't one I've ever really found, so we looked it up and explored it together.
Yeah.
And I feel that's something that's really great about HAALo, is we all get to learn and share the knowledge that we've gained together and kind of enrich each other's lives a lot. And part of that is the greater community around here, just being able to have somewhere where they can go and learn about herbs or make teas for their health, or get some essential oils. And it's been really great being here and watching people come into this store and the way that they interact with plants and the education and the outreach that comes out of the store too.
And it's so win-win for us. I mean, recently Benjah held a sweat lodge for the HAALo staff. And so he held it on his property, and we went, and he led this beautiful sweat lodge for us, and we were all transformed. I mean, and to see you in that position really showed us another side of you, and the way you interacted with the plants, and we all sat in circle for the evening, and we can't wait to do it again. So thank you for that as well.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks again for Tea Time at HAALo and with Shea, and we hope to see you next time.